Greetings and salutations, dear viewer. It is I, Ultra of Taro Productions, and once again, welcome back to Spooktober Storytime 2024. Tonight's story is The Enderman, as read by CountJJSaintOfGermain. And so, without further ado, let us begin.
Tuesday evening, October 2011. It was a foggy fall afternoon, coming home from school. I threw my homework aside to hop onto my Dell Optiplex 460 to play the newest update of my favorite game, Minecraft. Last month an update came out, Beta 1.8. It added so many cool new things, new building blocks, new hunger system, new mobs. There was one mob, though, that had terrified me to play sometimes. This tall black mob with strange purple eyes would wander in the shadows. I could always just barely see it, with its purple eyes piercing the shadows up close, and the way it turned white like a ghost when far away in the fog. I booted up my Windows Vista computer and started Minecraft as always, clicking launch on the white launcher with gray stone background. I loaded into the beautiful new menu with the background rotating around and the big stylized Minecraft logo. I joined my creatively named world, New World, and waited. My old Dell Optiplex was slow. The PC was my mom's from work. It took quite a while for it to do anything, really, especially loading up a Minecraft world, but it was worth it. I got up and laid in my bed while I waited for the game to load, daydreaming about my plans for the additions I wanted to make on my house. It seemed like 10 minutes had passed, an awful lot longer than usual. I grabbed my school notebook and flipped to the back where I had sketches and doodles of my Minecraft house on paper. Looking over it, impatiently daydreaming, finally, the game loaded. And before I could sit down, I heard the ooh sound of Steve as I got up from my bed. The oohing repeated over and over. I had sat down and found my screen red with the respawn button in front of me. The score was always %E0, but from the view behind the redness, I didn't see what mob had killed me. All I saw was the interior of the house I had built in the cliffside I spawned near. All I saw was the half-finished hobbit hole interior, red wool carpet, and no mobs. Nothing could have killed me. I went ahead and respawned and walked outside to the spruce forest my cliffside hobbit hole resided in. There I saw, in the fog, a ghostly silhouette of an Enderman. There was something strange about it. The eyes, they were green. I noticed that the eyes were changed when 1.8 finally came out, but this was months later. All the Endermen had purple eyes now, except this one. The fog began to darken as I watched the Enderman wander around and pick up a dirt block. I suppose night had come. I went to go sleep, and when I heard the zombie noise of an Enderman, I looked back to see the silhouette had left. Going back home, I decided to shorten my ceiling before going to bed, using dirt blocks, the ones I had on hand, and then went to sleep. As I waited for my game to turn to day, I looked back at my sketches on my notebook, determined to start building out the 2 corridors in the back of my house. My player jumped out of his bed and I quickly moved my hand over to the keyboard. I went outside to collect some wood for the walls, when suddenly, I saw a head, a player head, on the floor. Was this a new block? Mob heads didn't exist till release 1.4. It was strange. I recognized the player's skin as well. My friend Michael's. Michael was my friend from school. He was the only friend who knew how to run a Minecraft server, and I often played with him on his server. I felt so weirded out seeing my friend's head there. Out of what I think was fear or just disturbance, I closed the game and pinged Michael on Skype Messenger. Hey, did they add heads to the game? I chatted him. After a while, no response. I looked down at the Windows Vista taskbar. Seeing it was already 6 p.m., he was probably having dinner. I opened Minecraft back up to see if the head was still there. But when the game loaded, it was gone. The block it was sitting on seemed like there was blood. You know, typical pixelated blood. I chuckled, thinking this was probably some kind of Halloween joke Notch added or something. I went back about my gaming day, chopping wood, mining, found a diamond, and went back home. A full Minecraft's day of work. It was strange, though. I didn't see a single mob, save for a chicken or two. No hostile mobs at all. I started heading home when Skype made its iconic burpy notification sound. I checked to see if it was Michael. "No, I don't think so. Why?" he responded. I replied, "I saw your head on the ground. It was strange. There was blood, too. You think it's an early Secret Friday update for Halloween?" "Nah, they haven't done Secret Friday updates for a long time. Why start now?" he responded. I decided it would be a good idea to get a screenshot of the bloodstain to share with Michael, and I extradited my journey home. But when I got back, I saw, through the mountain archway in front of my house, hundreds of Endermen. Okay, maybe a tad of exaggeration. There were a lot of them, all white silhouettes, wandering around my home. I saw one there. It had the same green eyes, and he was holding Michael's head. I took a screenshot and sent it to him as fast as I could. I didn't even look at the image before sending it. And when it popped up on Skype to preview, the green-eyed Enderman was gone. I returned to the game and saw that all the Endermen had scattered, and the green-eyed one was totally missing. I went to check the spot where the head was when I first saw it. The bloodstain was still there, but it looked different. Like the pixel art style had changed. It made no sense to me. Gone from 8-bit MS Paint to 16-bit Pro Pixel Artist. The texture itself was larger than the block itself. It made no sense. I took a screenshot to see if I could send it to Michael too, and looking at the image file, the bloodstain wasn't there either. Skype chirped again, as Michael responded, "I think that's a glitch. I remember seeing something similar on my server where all the mobs were spawning in one chunk instead of the rest of the world. Did you see any other mobs that weren't near your house?" "No," I replied. "It's something to do with the performance of the computer. Didn't you say you were going to ask your mom for a new computer on your birthday?" he asked. "Yeah, but that's not for another 2 months. May as well ask for it for Christmas," I replied. I waited for a response. Old Skype would tell you when a person was typing, and I was waiting for his response. Suddenly his typing stopped. I suppose he got tired and went to bed. I decided to do the same, and click save and quit the title. The next day, I noticed Michael wasn't at school. He didn't mention that he was sick. Maybe the screenshot got him more worked up than it did to me. Probably nothing. I went home, throwing my homework across the room, and sat down at my PC to boot up Minecraft. Still hell-bent on making improvements to my house. Enderman infested or not. I waited for the game to load once again, this time leaning back in my crappy computer chair from Goodwill, waiting to make sure I don't die again. I looked down at my notebook with sketches and decided to draw a map of my home from memory. I drew the cliff my house resided under, the mountain archway, the forest, the river behind my house, and the large mountain I'd nearly built my house on top of originally. Drawing a square on the top, where I had laid the foundation of a house before changing my mind. I thought it was such a waste to leave it like that. The game finally opened, and I realized my house was ripped apart. Looking back at the screenshots, I noticed it was from the Enderman taking it apart. I decided to fix it before heading out to the mountain. All I had was spruce wood logs, so I ended up patching it with spruce logs. After the patch job, I set on to the mountain behind my house. Although it was night, I figured it would be morning by the time I got to the mountain, so I didn't bother sleeping. As I approached the river, I noticed something. A pitch black cave in the mountain across from me. I don't recall there being a cave. I figured it was maybe a lighting glitch and passed by it with intention of exploring it later. I noticed some chickens around. Seemed like passive mobs were spawning correctly now. As I made it to the top of the mountain, where the large foundation of cobblestone was, it was still pitch black, nighttime. Despite that, I went to work building. I wasn't sure what, but I decided a normal house structure would be just fine. Maybe I could make it into a farm or storage area. I built it up, walls with 3 wide windows going all around, giving me total vision on all sides. The structure was just big enough to where the back wall started to get obscured by the fog. As I walked around the building, I swear I heard something falling behind me. I would hit F5 to look what's behind me. Nothing. I ignored it. The sun was coming up as I set my last block in the wall. I looked out over the mountainside, down into what looked like an endless fog abyss. I could have sworn something was staring back at me. I decided it was time to head back and check out that cave, as my wood was running short. Coming back down, I realized how much of a climb this mountain is, thinking I'd need to get a whole lot more wood for some stairs. Reaching the bottom, I saw the cave, now lit up with the fog. It seemed like an endless 3-block-tall cavern stretching beyond the fog. Out of curiosity, I stepped into the cave. The fog faded into a dark gray as the light got further away. Suddenly I got a notification from Skype. It was from Michael, or so I thought. Hello? It's Michael's friend, right? This is his mother, his account said to me in the messenger. Michael passed away in his sleep last night, she wrote, with seemingly no discretion at all. I chatted with her for what seemed like hours, consoling her and telling her how much of a good friend he was. It was just so sudden. How could this have happened? I felt sick to my stomach just playing Minecraft knowing his family misery, and I decided it was enough games for tonight. I saved and quitted the title. As I was getting up, I looked out the window towards Michael's house. I couldn't really see it. It was blocks away in another neighborhood, but I felt like I needed to go there. It was very late now, almost 9. I figured I'd go to bed, and maybe after school I'll visit his house to console his family some more. It just didn't seem fair. As I looked out the window, I thought I saw something. Down the street, a faint green pair of dots? I must have been seeing things from being tired and miserable. I went to bed, covering my head with a blanket, with a bit of both sadness, sorrow, and fear. The next day after school, I went to Michael's house. Nobody was home. I sat down on the curb and wrote him a note with my notebook, giving them my mom's number, telling them to call if they ever need anything. I left it in their mailbox and headed home. I got home, sat down, did my homework for once, and afterwards, booted up Minecraft. I felt so apathetic, not really wanting to play, but had nothing else to do. Starting the game, I waited for the game to load. I was reminded where I was, in this strange cave. In the depths of the cave, I saw a strange shadow, like a fence post, with something on it. Approaching it, and placing a torch next to it, I was shocked to see it was my friend's realistic head on the fence. The blood and the head were so realistic, not like from Minecraft, like from Crisis or something. My cheap, crappy Optiplex bogged and lagged as I looked at the head. Terrified at the sight, I heard footsteps behind me. As I went to hit F5 to see, 2 long black arms grabbed my player, threw it on the ground, ripping its realistic spine out of its blocky body, and proceeding to reach in and dig realistic gore from its abdomen. I was almost in tears from what I experienced. As I spammed Alt F4 to close the game, I hit the power button on my Optiplex, and it shut down. Monitor went black. Just as I got up, breathing heavily, I heard a crash in the kitchen. I ran to see what happened. My mother was there, on the floor. Same death as my Minecraft character. From the light behind me, I saw a shadow casted over her body. It was tall, with long arms, and the head lined up with a black cat ornament on the wall with green eyes. I swear I heard someone, in a voice like the Minecraft zombies, say, "You're next." I made the mistake of calling the police, as they thought I was crazy, saying my Minecraft game killed my mom and friend. After going through various juvenile courts, I ended up in an orphanage for mentally unstable. I've been here ever since, always seeing 2 green eyes in the corner of my vision.
I hope you all enjoyed tonight's story. Tune in next time, and you will be listening to... Wait. What was that? What was that just now? Best not think of it. Where was I? Right. Tune in next time, and you'll be listening to the following 2 stories very soon. When those will happen, I don't know. But the following stories will be The Abandoned Convenience Store, as read by Gravity Without Context, and 4 Nights at Freddy's, as read by Sleepy the Dragon. Now, you're probably wondering, Ultra, you mentioned something interactive in the last chapter. When will that be happening? All in due time. All in due time. Until then, this is... Wait. There it is again. What was that? Anyways, until next time, this is Ultra of Taro Productions, signing off.